Welcome, everyone. All right. So I'm Shashwat.
I'm Daniel Stein.
So we're from CS-based, which is a computer science organization in Chatham, dedicated to teaching kids and now adults about computer science. So this class is Introduction to AI Tools. So we'll be covering various AI tools that have become prevalent in recent years. So this is a quote from Stanford and MIT researchers. It says that workers who work with generative AI will replace those who don't. So over the past couple of years, AI technology has been progressing pretty rapidly. And the technology has become extremely advanced in the past year when we've seen many new different types of AI come out. So some of the types of things are large language models, which take human input as natural language and can understand it. Generative storytelling, online meetings can be improved, also for image identification and efficient messaging. So first, ChatGPT. So ChatGPT has, OpenAI has released ChatGPT just about a year ago in November. And since then, like, it's been in news headlines everywhere, right? I'm sure everyone has seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very powerful tool. So essentially what it is, it's a large language model, meaning that it's trained on all of the text in the internet to understand grammar, context, and language patterns, so that when the user gives it an input, it can understand it and give an output that is similar to what a human would give. So if you want to click this or open this link, chat.openai.com, you can see some of the things it does. As you can see, I use it quite a bit. So it can do many things.
Sorry. So ChatGPT is pretty useful software, right? Because it's trained on all of this data from the internet, it can do pretty much anything you want it to do. It can write your emails, right? It can write papers, hypothetically, right? It can do, we would never. It can do proofreading, help you prepare for interviews. It can help educate you about things you wouldn't otherwise be able to understand. So pretty useful. If you have like your phone or your like your tablet or whatever, go to chat.openai.com. I will also open it up. We can do a little demo.
It's open on the other side or on the screen.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. So let's say, right, what's something that you might want to do in your everyday life that you think AI might be able to help you do? We get like a hand. Proofread. Okay. So let's have it write something for us.
Use the document.
I'm going to use the food spelling corrections.
All right. So imagine you have this list of misspelled words, namely fruits. So you can tell it fix the spelling capitalization of these foods, and it can do it for you, right? So an application of this, let's say you have like a paper that you've drafted really quickly. It has all the content, but it's missing like some of the finer details. You can use this, for example, to like clean it up while still keeping its essence, right? So, yeah. So let's say you're reading like a complicated research abstract, and you're trying to understand a new concept a bit more simply. And it's like a long article, or like, this isn't really long, but it's a bit complicated. So what you can do is move this. Yeah.
There you go.
So it can,
So what did you do? How did you
oh,
change it?
I just copied this.
There's like an example of a prompt you could give it.
So
Like if you're reading a news article,
yeah,
and maybe some of it is something you don't understand, or you don't quite get, you can give it that part of the news article and you can tell it, right, summarize this, help explain to me in more simple terms, right? Like layman terms.
yeah. So
The new chat.
I mean, you can, okay, so if you click new chat, you can send a message here. If you go to one of your previous chats, you can also send a message. And if you're on a computer, you press enter. If you're on your phone, you click this little send message button. So this is like a pretty like complex article. And then we tell it to simplify it a little bit, and it's like slightly more digestible now. And we can even tell it to summarize the article in 3 sentences.
Something else,
Yeah.
go back to the very beginning where you sign in to chat.openai. And then, what other step you do to ask an easy question?
Okay. So when you first get to openai.com or chat.openai.com, you'll be on this screen.
Okay.
So down at the bottom here, you have a little box here that says send a message. So you can type in there. Like, for example, and then it'll tell you.
Okay. Got it.
Right.
Thank you.
How does that different from if you went to, you on a website, just a general search saying brownie recipe, you get a bunch of links. I guess this is just
Yeah.
right to just one, whatever one they want to give you, right?
Yeah. So for example,
Fraction of the time, right?
yeah. Yeah, this is like instant. So yeah. Another thing.
It's you can get a lot of this stuff online, but as I don't know what your name is, but as that guy pointed out, right? Sorry. As he pointed out, for one thing, it's a lot quicker. But another thing, it's much more personalized, right? So let's say, right, like on the internet, let's say you were trying to you wrote something, right, and you need to fix your writing, right? Or you're looking for like a personalized recipe, right? You have very specific parameters, right? ChatGPT can work with.
Yeah.
that,
Yes. Okay.
right?
So
Versus search could not.
in this example, like for example, let's say you don't have butter. See, and it'll give you an alternate recipe.
Do something like cut and paste a paragraph from another document.
Yeah.
Put it in that number.
Yeah. So let's go to quantum physics. Let's copy this Wikipedia article. I don't know if it can accept this much. Oh yeah, I can do it. And ask it, can you summarize
In layman terms.
the above article
In
in
layman terms.
in layman terms in 3 bullet points?
Okay.
I like that. I like that.
And then so yeah, but it's accurate because you gave it all the info.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's not changing all the info, but like if you're telling it to create things on its own, yeah. That's not the link. I see. This is the link. Chat.openai.com. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll leave the screen up. When there's a popular website, a lot of the misspellings get bought and they're used as viruses for people who misspell the link. Yeah.
How does it know? When you're finished with the text that you put in, when your question starts.
Uh,
You start with- And then you said, tell me what it said.
it uses.
Start paying attention. Explain.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So it uses something called natural language processing, called shortened as NLP. So basically, it's been trained on all this data, right, on the internet, and it knows somewhat how to understand language,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So based on that, it can figure out when it's a question and when it's not, just like a human would be able to.
Okay.
But it's not actually understanding; it's just doing it based on patterns it has seen before. That's essentially what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say hypothetically, you were going to write an essay. I don't know about nothing too specific. Nothing too specific. It would write an essay for you.
So can you include a bibliography in that?
Okay.
Not quite.
Not yet. Good question.
So okay. One of the security measures imposed on ChatGPT is that it can't browse the internet. Like imagine how scary it would be if this thing could browse the internet, right? Imagine what it could do, the mayhem it could cause. So that would not be good. But
No. So it was, about 7 years ago, what they did is they took a huge collection of websites and they compiled all the data from the websites, all the text, everything, and they trained it on that. So it's trained on very outdated info. Right.
So-
It happened 7 years ago.
yeah, so
Small part of the web. From 7 years.
yeah. So this essay that it wrote, it's a good starting point, but as you can see, it's like clearly plagiarized, right? So you wouldn't want to use it for you can use it for like getting a baseline for what you want to do, but you can't use it to explicitly generate something.
And it also doesn't have up-to-date information because it was trained on all this data from 7 years ago. Right. So like if you ask, right, like who the current president is or what the weather is, it has no idea. Right. It can make stuff up, but it can't tell you.
Actually,
So if you're looking for something technologically that changes constantly in medicine, this is not going to help you because it's 7 years old.
It can be helpful, but you got to take it with a big grain of salt.
Knowing that the
It's
7 years of research is not in there.
Yes.
it's not 7.
It is 7 years. They
It's-
update it periodically, but it's
Okay.
the vast majority of the data. is
In
from 7 years ago.
2021, they trained it again and made for ChatGPT
It's mostly
3.
the same data set.
Yeah, but it's more. So it generally knows things up to 2021.
Yeah.
So that's the restriction. Yeah. Yeah. So I think about 6 months ago, OpenAI released ChatGPT 4. It's a much better model.
Yeah.
It can do image analysis. Also, it can generate images. But as of now, it's paid only. Yeah. Yeah.
How would you? So you.
Upgrade.
Okay. Thank you.
It's like quite expensive. A PowerPoint? We'll get to that later. Okay. But yeah. Wow.
As of January.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. In about like March, they released ChatGPT 3.5, which is like slightly better. It has because like in like December and January, everyone was like using ChatGPT, so they got a lot of new info to train it on and improve the model. So it's a lot better now. Okay, it's Alberto Fernandez.
But a lot of the info is still outdated. You can't, as I said, take it with a grain of salt. But it has some more reason.
Okay, so it was right.
Ask what the current year spread.
It will know.
Oh, so it is January 22 too. You have to go by.
Yeah. It generally knows things. So like, let's say you were writing an article or a blog or something, and you wrote it like pretty fast. You don't have much time in your hands, so you have a lot of misspellings. You can see all the red underlines. So what it'll do is just clean it up for you, right? Yeah. But like that, you have to do like manually click through each this, and that also takes a while. But yeah, well, there's a free version, but yeah. And then this, it's like if you have a really big thing, this can be helpful for that also. All right, so try something out, see what you can do with it. I'm gonna, what should I do with it?
How to play tic-tac-toe?
Oh,
Hopefully it doesn't cheat like this stuff does.
it'll definitely cheat. Oh wow. So dumb. Bro.
So bad at tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, it doesn't really know how to play tic-tac-toe, but you know,
It can play though.
it's pretty rudimentary.
Please, I don't think it realizes you won.
Yeah, it doesn't realize I've won.
What is the look at the chat?
Well, why do that? Do I have it in Spanish?
I don't know.
All right, so let's say we were making I don't know how many of you are like fluent in computer science, but let's say we were making a simple Python script, right? Python's a programming language. So, and let's say you were going through a bunch of files and you wanted to find something. And you wanted to find the word customer. It'll code it for you. And with the coding, it generally knows what it's doing, but you definitely have to proofread it because it can use some things that don't exist,
Where it used to exist.
don't anymore.
You want to do this?
I mean, not really. All right. Does anybody have any questions about this?
Does it know what languages? Can it translate?
Yes, can do pretty much anything.
So I could type
Maybe.
something in the Latvian and it would do some research
Yes.
from.
It could it can do it.
Maybe.
It can translate Latvian. It can do any language.
Yeah. For
Yeah, use
so ChatGPT is a more general AI tool. So this means that it can do everything, but it can't do one thing like very well. So this is called DeepL. This is a dedicated foreign language translator that uses AI. So like Spanish to German. Oh. It can do this limited set of languages. It doesn't look like Latvian is there. Yeah. So it can generally translate things very well. Google Translate also does, but it does a slightly worse job. like in a foreign language class in a school, you'll be told not to use Google Translate because it translates the words directly, not based on context. But an AI trained like this can use that context to translate it. And this is called DeepL, if anyone is interested. Right. Does anybody have any more questions? Yeah.
Different language.
Yeah.
Translation, without a list of other specific types of GPT that
Give me an example.
let's say
Coding?
you're able to
Okay.
GitHub GPT or GitHub Copilot.
Okay. So
Codex, but
ChatGPT is okay. ChatGPT is okay at coding. I think for a dedicated AI coder, you would want like GitHub Copilot. Do you know what that is?
I'm not coding.
Oh yeah. So GitHub Copilot, GitHub, Git, GITHUB. So you do have to pay for it, but you get it for free if you like go to school.
For 30 days.
Yeah.
What about email? Is that a free?
Yeah. DeepL is 100% free.
So what do you guys use it for?
Many things. You
we mostly use it for coding and some writing.
Some writing?
Yeah, some writing, like creative writing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it can be quite creative at times.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very creative.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
I teach adults.
Mhm.
So does this mean I shouldn't ask them any essay questions? Because basically anything I ask them, they're gonna do it. It will just like cut and paste.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what suggestions do you have?
Yeah, so-
for-
okay.
Thank you. This is a good point.
You talk.
Okay, so kind of a complicated problem. So on one hand, you're right that they can answer pretty much any essay question with this, and you'll see online there are a lot of like AI detectors. None of them work. None of them can figure this out. It can respond if they ask it to just like a person. Most people don't use this for writing. It's very unlikely they would. Trying to think, it's a serious concern, but there's not really a lot to do about it. It's
Yeah, like there's nothing stopping someone from just like
this essay that we wrote, it's human generated, right? But it isn't.
so like this detector, for example, is one of the most popular AI detectors. It thinks that this is all human written.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
Protection that came before.
Yeah. Oh, it's 62%. All right, it's even worse. So, yeah, another good way is to look for plagiarism. So, like most, like an essay question, you would scan for plagiarism anyway. If they just use explicitly AI and don't use any of their input, it'll most likely plagiarize because it's getting from the internet. It uses those patterns. Yeah.
But it's not like it's taken one from one source, but it's like each of the sentences or the pieces could be taken from like 100 websites. But if you give it input, it'll expand on that input using patterns. If you don't give it any input, it's coming off the internet.
Somebody comes back, and I know their writing style, I can usually tell.
Yeah. And
This is much more sophisticated.
yeah.
Just-
And you can get it to copy your runs if you give it some input. You
Yeah,
can-
like,
You can
it-
train it to that.
Yeah, let's say you had an essay that you got a good grade on. You would copy that in, you would tell it, this is an essay I did good on. Can you write like this? It'll say yes. And then you give it a prompt and it can write similarly.
Yeah, we don't.
And it'll match your sentence structure, it'll match your style of writing. It'll
So,
yeah.
because I know more about this because I do English.
You're not quiet.
Right, in order to give it content and then ask another question and based off that, I'm assuming that you must have some kind of session logging.
So within each one of these chats, it remembers everything that happened within the chat. But then when you start a new chat, right, when you in this screen here, it doesn't have any memory of what happened in any of these other instances.
Okay,
So it remembers within the instance, but the instances are separate from each other.
okay, so as long as you stay in, yeah, but. So how would you answer it without? I'm sorry, I'm not used to the interface. So if you're in find customer in text.
Yep.
Okay, and now you send a message, you're still in that one.
Yes.
But if you go then
Press new chat.
up at the top, new
Yeah.
chat, then you're starting in. Got it. Can you go back to an old session and
Yeah.
it will
Yeah.
go back to that content?
So what was I looking here?
That's the driver's ed one, right?
Let's go back
That's the
to-
ELISI.
Uh,
Yeah, click on it.
I don't know.
So it'll refamiliarize itself with this chat.
Yes.
Yeah, because all of its data is stored in that chat. Yeah.
It's as
So-
long as that's around, as long as that's there, right?
Uh,
You can delete it and then it'll be gone and you can't get it back. But as long as it's there, it'll stay there.
Is it? Like, if you, I mean, did you sign in? Sorry, there was no parking, so I was really late. So if.
I mean,
did you sign in.
I already have an account. So to create an account, I mean, on their website, openai.com, you can create an OpenAI account. You'll have to use your phone number. So there's only one phone number you can only have one account per phone number and you need a phone number to register it. So that prevents like one person from having multiple accounts. So you'd sign in with that and then you can sign in and do things with it.
So it would save the fact. Sign in to sign in.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you delete this? For him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You just click the trash can. Because generally people have one phone number, right? And what they do is they give so the way this works, it's on a shared server, right? And a server costs electricity. It costs a lot of money to run. So, and if they open servers for so many people, they're losing money, right? So, and at the end of the day, it's a business. So by limiting the users,
You want to show them the super prompt, super prompt.
I don't use super prompts.
You don't use super.
You do super prompts.
Since I do this.
So.
It is gathering your data, yes. So it'll
Well. Not within the session data. It doesn't catch session data.
yes, but like it'll you can like send feedback, obviously, that whether the prompt is good or not. But it also like just like with the volume of user inputs, it updates itself. Right.
But somewhere it's all linked to your telephone. Every search you've done and all the things you're looking for, they're linked to your telephone so it knows when to find it. For instance, if you've done some prior searches, they're linked to your telephone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they're linked to a
So
Yeah,
there is
it's
a
linked to
way
an
that it
account which
can-
is linked to your telephone.
There's a way that the data could try to
Oh, yeah.
profile you.
Yeah, I wouldn't don't put anything sensitive in there. No phone number, no credit card info.
Can you just use a non-existent telephone? Remember it to keep using it or?
No, because okay, so
It has to be a working telephone
it'll
number.
send you a verification
No, but
code.
just by the things you're interested in, it
Yeah.
can create a profile.
Yeah, hypothetically.
Hypothetically, they say they don't take your data,
All right,
but
It's possible.
If it's essentially open source software, then they're not looking to make a profit as much as they are to better the.
That would be very true if it was open source software.
no,
It used to be a research nonprofit, but then they realized they could make a lot of money from this. So now it isn't. So we're going to show you something called,
yeah,
Microsoft owns
49% of it
yeah, they're up
49%.
will be on someday.
It will be. So,
I mean, I just got on the Google beta that's doing the same thing.
Google
What's
Bard?
best, yeah,
this is best.
this is best.
Yeah,
This is
because
best.
it's been doing it the longest.
This is-
it is the
This
best.
has the most data, it has the most computing power. Like a lot of the other things are good, but this is the best.
Yeah, Google Bard is similar.
It's
Like-
similar, but it's wrong more often. It doesn't know as much. It's a smaller set.
Yeah, like I don't. No one here probably uses the Bing search engine, but if you do, Microsoft has their Bing AI, which is using the ChatGPT API, but it's worse because it's not constantly updating itself with OpenAI's software. But Bing AI can surf the internet.
So we're going to show something pretty useful called how about Google Bard? Being better.
Okay.
Google.
Google Bard. Okay, so it's just like similar to OpenAI. You can look at it on your own. We're not going to cover it here, but like it works similarly.
It's the same idea. It's the same kind of model. It's just smaller data set. It's made by Google. It's very similar. Not quite as powerful. All right. Any other questions? Or we're good for a minute?
Image recognition.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. We've
Yeah.
run a couple of prompts and they have an option that says regenerate. Is that sort of to express if you're not happy with the results, or is it?
So like if you were having it write an essay and you didn't think it didn't do what you wanted it to, you'd just do that and it would like rerun the prompt. It doesn't send them feedback on it. It just redoes it, but slightly differently.
I see. So it's sort of a refresh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be slightly different because it's not the same every time. Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, we're going to show something and then we'll move on. So this is called custom instructions. So I wouldn't worry too much about this first section. What would you like it to know about you? If you go into the second section, you can change how it responds to all your questions. So, sir, you asked a question about a Latvian.
Yes,
Respond to all my slow typer in Latvian.
So is this gonna work?
It should work. Okay, and then
Say what is your favorite color?
what are the colors?
jā, krāsas vispārīgi dažādi, izmantotas krāsas sarkanzē. It's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
and you can
okay.
do more than Latvian, or more than having it change languages. You could have it. Let's say you were. Oh, sorry, I'm very shaky here.
Wow, Grammarly AI.
So something like that.
It is pretty funny seeing the Grammarly. That kind of.
Yeah.
So let's say you were you weren't a great reader, and you needed it to respond in simple terms, right? And so you asked
Explain quantum physics.
what are quantum
That also works.
physics? Oh, it's still, I didn't reload it. It's still spawning in Latvian.
Oh, they're right.
You have to enable it for new chats.
On the top. Physics. Right,
So,
so it's sponsored at a much easier to read level.
Yeah, and it's slightly more simple than this Wikipedia article.
Right.
That
And so you can customize it. Now, what's your question? Oh, okay. Right, and obviously you can respond it in Latvian at a fourth grade level. You can do it whatever you want, whatever language you want. Really anything. You can really customize the whole thing. So that's what you want to do. Slide there.
So now our next AI, DALI. So DALI is also made by OpenAI. It makes basically just images based on the natural language prompt. So it uses some of the similar software, but it's a bit more outdated. So the link is labs.openai.com. Or type that in. What? Yeah. So basically, you can tell it to make any image. So let's say make take a little bit. So I told it make an image of an astronaut on Mars in the style of Vincent van Gogh. So see these images 100% AI generated. And if you look at some of Van Gogh's paintings, these would look like something he would make. Yeah. But now let's say yeah. Now, if you were like, for example, change the style. It'll make it in watercolor. So you can do many things. For example, this generated by DALI. And wait, where's the? So you can. So it doesn't know the CS base logo, but what you can do is upload an image. Let's see what images. What's this like? What image should I put? Yeah, of course. It is. All right, we gotta find. Okay, so say. So let's say like this, for example. Generate variations or something. It can do it based on the image that you gave it. So here we gave it the CS base logo, and we told it to around it to generate these hands. So it can make things. Which I get. So DALI's a good like general yeah. So this is just some examples of what DALI can make. You can experiment with prompt engineering to help you make more images better.
I'm curious, is it doing it by compiling images that are actually within the internet itself? It's just coming up with its own.
Yeah, so just like ChatGPT, it's been trained on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Yes.
Okay, so when they trained it, they have a huge data set of images, right? Like think millions and millions of images, right? All the paintings by Van Gogh, right? Every random thing you see online, all those images, and within each of them is associated a prompt, right? So like, for a Vincent van Gogh painting, right, the prompt could be, oh, Mona Lisa painted by Vincent van Gogh. And then when it's trained on all that data,
That was Da Vinci, but whatever.
yeah, okay, not important. When it's trained on all that data, it learns to recognize between the prompt that you give it and what output should look like. So everything is original, but all of it is based on stuff that comes from off the internet.
Yeah.
Could you do a flow chart? Could you do a flow chart like this?
Let's see.
You can have that, that helps.
ChatGPT might be better.
So ask ChatGPT to make a flow chart.
Make a flow chart. Box A to B to D in a horizontal line. Going right, then C underneath B
Yeah.
with an arrow from A and an arrow going to D.
Yeah, on it by that.
Who's going to respond this?
Yeah, it can.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Yeah, copy and paste the same thing. So we'll see. It might not be too good at this because it's
It
more.
No, that's good.
it doesn't know. It doesn't know text.
It doesn't do well with text. It's not as good at taking an input.
Wow.
So it tries its best, but it's a little confused.
Like this does not look like any language. I don't know what this is.
You said it could be in all, how do you use it?
PowerPoints is actually our next thing. So let's just go to the. All right, so our next AI, Tome AI. So this can be used for interactive presentations using an AI just to like make a presentation. So it's in tome.app and create presentations for example, fundraising pitch for levitating electric boat company. Anyway, so you go to this top right, tell it to create, and then you just give it the prompt and it can generate for you an outline. So this is the outline that it gave. So the slides that it chose. So the prompt is a fundraiser. Yeah, wait, sorry. So it can make the slides and then the layout. You can choose it. Like for example, you can just go here. Okay, so here we have the finished slideshow. So it's an AI generated image. So it made like a little rudimentary slideshow that if like, for example, if you were going to do a sales pitch, you could present this. and then you can export to PDF, but yeah, you have to pay. And then to the PDF, you could like import it to Microsoft PowerPoint or Google Slides. But one thing to keep in mind with all these AIs, like if you're working for a company, you likely don't want to give them like trade secrets or something. Many companies nowadays have like rules against using AI for work. I know my parents do. So does anybody have any questions? And you can like play around with these. Yeah. 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 So I gave it the prompt, a fundraising pitch for the levitating electric boat. So yeah.
Because they don't, their stuff going into the cloud. Knowledge, like once you put in your input, basically you're handing it over to whatever.
I mean, that's part of it. I think the larger concern with companies not wanting people to use it is concerns about like productivity, right? And that sometimes, right, like as we saw, it makes a lot of mistakes. And if you don't have people doing their jobs and doing work, a lot of those mistakes could end up in like a company's software or in whatever they're doing. And obviously that's undesirable. But it's less of a concern about trade secrets going away. I mean, that being said, obviously don't, nothing sensitive.
Yeah. To that point, a friend who works for an insurance company, and like a lot of people, they have Microsoft Office, right? So Microsoft is actually coming in and saying, "Can you beta test AI for us?" So their pitch is use this beta version of AI that would help you increase productivity. So assuming the company is inviting them in, certainly.
Yes. Absolutely, it can increase productivity, right? But there are some things that's not good at doing, and it needs human intervention in addition to AI. That's the concern.
Yeah. Does anyone have any more questions? Yeah.
I think we've heard that there could be mistakes. Sometimes they say 10% is high. Is there any way to proofread something you don't understand entirely to try to find out what is accurate and what is not?
I mean,
okay, so one of the things you can do, I mean, obviously there's no way to be 100% sure, but oftentimes if it's something really important, and like with ChatGPT, if it first generates something, you can maybe send it back and you could be like, hey, proofread this. And it's pretty good at doing that. Right. It works surprisingly well.
Yeah, you feed it back into itself and it
you figure if the first time if it makes 10% errors and the second time it makes 10% errors, then you're 99% good to go. Right.
That doesn't add up.
I'm not very good at math.
Yeah.
So would you say proofread what you just did, or how would you express that request?
Yeah. Like
you would say, can you please proofread this?
What's the this though?
Let's
go back to the.
Let's give an example.
Where is the essay now?
Essay.
Let's say we were going back to our essay here.
Yeah.
And then we just ask. Yeah, so it'll tell you some things that your essay doesn't do well, for example, and then I click new chat because if it already knows what is generated, then it kind of defeats the purpose of feeding it back into itself, right? So you wouldn't. Oh, this is still in 4th grade level. All right, whatever.
Just that or Latvia.
Yeah, we don't know. Well, okay. So, like, for example, in this, you could give it a bunch of essay examples of things you've written, and then you tell it to write in your style, said things it generates are more custom. And this will also change its writing style so that it's not the same monotonous, repetitive thing that AI content detectors look for. And it also will be less likely to plagiarize because it already has some input. That being said, do not use it for work like that.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Don't.
Yeah. Definitely do not.
Definitely not.
Does anybody have any more questions? All right. So Tome AI, Fireflies AI. So this is paid for, but what this does, it joins your meeting. Or like, let's say you have a Zoom meeting, it'll join your meeting and it'll take transcripts, it'll summarize, and it'll give you a summary of the Zoom meeting or whatever meeting in text so that you can look at it later.
Well, Zoom records anyway, this would summarize it.
This would put into text from voice. Yeah. Fireflies.ai, but this is paid. So you can like get started for free, like whatever. This over the past year, because of ChatGPT, many new AIs have popped up. So like you'll be seeing AI left and right everywhere you go, and AI for this, AI for that.
And they vary in quality. Not all of them are
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT is very good. Google Bard is pretty solid. Some of the other ones are a little okay, not great. But 90% of the things you want to do with AI, you can use ChatGPT.
So in your wildest imagination, where do you see this going?
Where do I see this going?
Yeah.
AGI.
I think a lot of people are going to lose a lot of jobs. And I mean, really, within the next, so we're fast approaching something called artificial general intelligence, which is the point of time in which these AI will be capable of doing anything a human could do, really. Right? It could, like you saw, that AI tried to write a slideshow, did okay. Within the next 8 months to 2 years, an AI is going to be able to write a slideshow, write an email, do pretty much anything you could do online, but better. And so I think it's a very scary possibility.
Yeah.
And very real possibility.
And there's also the ethics question, like, do we want AI to get advanced enough where it can do these things? Do we want it to like be able to do these things and replace humans, all these jobs in all these sectors?
What do you mean by e-meeting exactly?
Oh, just like a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet or like a Skype or.
Okay, so does it hear the voice or does it just text or how does it?
Yeah, so it.
Voice
recognition? Voice recognition. Yeah, so like on your phone, I think iPhone has like text to speech. So you talk into your phone, it turns your voice into text. It's not very good. Like if you mispronounce something, so they'll misspell or think it's something different. But that's an example of AI. So it's true. Yeah.
You mentioned about emails. Like, how would you implement something like this for like emails?
Oh, I do this.
The gist. So this
a really quick response. I go to presentation. I go back. I'm assuming it's to be able to put together a general. If I gave it a topic, thank you or whatever else.
Tone?
Be able to basic.
Oh, he's asking about emails.
Oh, emails. Yeah. So like,
can you repeat your question?
Yeah. So in regards to how would you like? I guess you could put it into. I guess what is it?
Just you can put all of them into ChatGPT.
I mean, it'll be able to.
Yeah.
Drop. Okay.
So this is the Gist AI. So this just it summarizes your notifications for you. This is also paid, but like you get all the notifications on your phone. It can summarize them into a nice, neat, little, concise like paragraph for you to read. Be quite useful for saving time. And then wait, skip one.
Is that what it's called? Just,
Yeah, the gist.ai. Some of them, yeah. No.
Yeah, there are tons of different AI. Most of them are unaffiliated. ChatGPT is the big one, but there's pretty much an AI for everything.
And
Like .com, could be anybody. any
Yes.
company,
Yeah.
.com.
like for example, most of the AIs use the ChatGPT API itself to use it. Like I think does the Snapchat API use it?
Snapchat.
Yeah, yes. Like the Snapchat AI that you, I don't know how many of you use it. Yeah, it is the wrong audience. So yeah, but like for example, that uses yeah. So with the API, what you can do is you can using programming, you can basically have it give inputs automatically, and it sends a response to the model, and then gives it it sends a prompt to the model, gives a response back, and you can use it for filtering things. Yeah. Yeah.
Everything. And it would know, like members of the team or G. Summarize that as well.
Yeah. Just notifications, I guess.
So yes.
Yeah.
Answer
give
is
an example. Could you do one?
No, the gist and fireflies are paid for, so
Oh, okay.
yeah. Most of them, there's a lot of money to be had in this thing, so but
That you sign in to the other apps through the GIST.
see.
So GIST has access to the data in all those other apps. And then it brings it together on one page essentially, where you can see, it'll say your Gmail information here and your Slack channel here, and it'll give you a paragraph on each thing.
Yeah, so like
But I doubt it would give
Yes,
you the
this is-
information from your teammates.
this is so like this is an example of a prompt that it'll generate. So it gives names, it tells you what people are doing. I don't know if you can read from there, but yeah.
Is there, you could have a program running on your computer that would go along and then go out to the AI, get some data back, and then do some more processing and then go out and get something
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, so using the ChatGPT API, it's a bit more advanced, but you need to know like how to program.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you do.
Yeah, you are able to do it. There are ways.
Yeah, there's a ChatGPT API. And if you use the API, you can send requests to the API, and the API can return with whatever data you want. So you can send a request with a question, and I'll send it back to you. But you need to know how to program. I think it's in Python.
I think it's also it has a like C. The chat API. So when you sign up, you get $18 free, or I think 14 or 18 free dollars, and I think it's like quite a bit. So like $18 will last you about 2 years. Like based on an average usage.
Unless you have like an obscene amount of usage.
Yeah, if you're using, yeah, yeah.
Say, summarize a novel.
Okay, so give me an example of a novel. Give me a book.
So soon it'd be like electronic version.
Yeah.
Let me use a book
Summarize.
that very few people know. So summarize, razor strike,
The
razor strike, razor eyes. Strike.
It may not be a well-known book, so
Well,
They summarize grapes of wrath.
call the razors. Very good.
Doesn't have information.
it was the book published after 2022.
Um.
Yeah, so it may not know it.
What is Google Lens?
So Google Lens, yeah, let me just get to that real quick. So Google Lens, if you have the Google app on your phone or just like go to lens.google, you can take a picture. So like if you were taking a picture of like, for example, a plant in the wilderness and you wanted to know if it was edible, you would take a picture of it. It would tell you what plant it would find images on Google that match that image. And then you could click on it to see what that plant is. So, and you can use it for anything. Yeah.
Take a picture, mine on yeah,
Yeah.
and then I can feed it
Yeah. Like you, yeah. If you have the Google app on your phone.
Poisonous.
Yeah. Well, it's not explicitly telling you anything. It's finding images on Google that match the picture you took. Yeah.
Has it been used for scientific research at all?
Yes, a lot. You can, they research AI, but you can research a lot of other stuff with AI. Like, Josh, want to tell him about the?
Me?
Medicine, cancer, whatever.
Yes, a kid at our school did research on melanoma with AI
Okay.
to detect early melanoma.
Was it accurate?
Yes, I think it's actually used now. I think they use it in the film.
Yeah. Many like healthcare things, you can an AI, you can feed it this vast amount of information and it won't tire. And it can understand and it can try to understand it and then try to give you an output based on what you want.
If it's something that's very complex medically that humans haven't figured out, you can rely on this to come up with the right answer. No, humans haven't figured it out yet.
Well, for example, the COVID vaccine, many pharmaceutical companies, they used AI in some part of the development process because obviously for one human to know what all of these compounds and medicines and things had do in combination each other with the human body and this virus is quite complicated. So using an AI to train, it can try to predict different things that will or will not work. And based on that, a human can test out the now narrowed down set of possibilities and see which one works.
But it can't do the whole.
Yeah.
Not yet. But AGI 2 years. Right, we'll see.
2 years. That's a bold prediction.
2 years is not a bold prediction.
5 years. It's hard to tell.
The common idea is 12 to 18 months.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any more questions? Yeah. Oh yeah. So, Dan, you want to go first?
All right. So, CS-based is a nonprofit, right? Primarily focused on teaching computer science to youth. It's based in Chatham, New Jersey. Here, it was founded by a bunch of high school students. But we have chapters. And how many continents do we have chapters in?
5.
5 continents, 6 continents, right? Like 20 plus countries all over the world. We teach computer science, we teach AI, to all kinds of people, right? Kids, adults. Yeah.
So to volunteer or to teach? To learn. So we have classes, like in the summer, we have a summer camp teaching computer science. If you go on our website, you can get info on like in your area where you can get a class. It's like, yeah, CS-based stuff. Is it com or org? Might be com.
No, it's CS-based.org.
Yeah. Yeah, CS-based.org.
Got that funding. Google.
Oh. Yeah,
We are high school students. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Can you have a link in the internet document, HTML,
And
into the AI system?
sorry, repeat your question.
Could somebody have a web page where they could, for specialized purposes, go out and ask a question of AI?
Yeah.
Yes.
So with the API, right? If you can have a question box inside the website, and then that'll have a link to, like, for example, the API works with JavaScript, so you can, when you enter it, it'll give a JavaScript. It'll run a JavaScript function, which trigger the API based on the prompt you give it, and it'll return a response, and you can give then you can display that response back onto the web page.
Okay.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Do this.